Hello, welcome, YouTube. How's it going? Thank you so much for tuning in to another live recording of the Are You Green podcast. Please be sure to click subscribe and like this video, and also turn on the alerts so that you know when I go live. I am holding the microphone on my lap because yesterday I made a rookie mistake having the microphone too far away and had to re-record the podcast, which really defeats the whole purpose of what we're doing here. So sorry about that. But let's get started with today's cast. Hello, traders and friends. Welcome to the Are You Green podcast. Today is Wednesday, December 30th. It's almost the end of the year, and that has sent investors gossiping really just about what they are to expect in 2021. The market today has done pretty well. We've seen this end of the year rally. The previous close on the S&P 500 was 371.46. It's now sitting around 372, and it was even higher this afternoon. The previous close for the XLK, the technology indicator for the S&P 500, was at 129.90. It's around 130. Are the markets green? Yes, they are. And now the question everybody wants to know, are you green with my personal trading accounts? Yes, I am green also. So it looks like it's going to be a nice green ending to 2020. When we come back, we're going to dive in and look at what's happening with the stimulus check news. I also want to address today's anniversary with COVID-19. I want to look at what all of these investors are talking about when they are predicting this end of the year rally is going to affect 2021, when we're going to see that effect. I also have a warning about IPOs to share, a look at 2020 winners, and then my personal trades. I sold JD. I entered into a new swing trade with FUBO. So this is a busy episode. Make sure you stay tuned, and we'll take a short break. So this is where I put in music for the podcast. Anyways, let's just continue to go on. Today, more news around the stimulus checks have come out. And honestly, it looks like this bill for a $2,000 stimulus is going to die in the Senate. It's very disappointing because we had both Democrats and Republicans pretty much ready to pass the $2,000 bill. However, what happens? Okay, so Mitch McConnell, who is the leader of the Senate, the Republican majority, he actually attached a couple of other items onto the bill. So he attached a section 230. Who cares about this politics, right? It's something to do with tech regulation. He also attached a measure around creating committees around voter fraud. So a lot of people are saying that by attaching these measures, he's pretty much put things in place that he knew that Democrats would not vote for so that he can stop this bill. So again, I mean, all of this politics aside, it's really kind of dumb that we cannot get something done that both Nancy Pelosi and President Trump agree on. But that is, just going to be the way that this cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Looking at the time ahead, we do have a $600 stimulus check coming. So do not get confused because this is still happening in the Senate. It does not affect the fact that this $600 stimulus check has already been passed, and it will be coming to your bank account or to your mailbox soon. When? Okay, so the IRS has said that January 4th is their start date for transfers to the bank accounts. I looked and I do not have mine yet. Even though it's before January 4th, some people reported getting it already. So that's why I looked. So I'll update you when that hits my account. For those of you who are not set up with direct deposit, the paper checks are set to go out by the end of January. If this $2,000 check measure does get passed, then they'll just go ahead and add that difference to the paper check or to your deposit. So either way, do not get concerned that this is holding up the first round. That's the $600. I guess it's the second round of stimulus checks that we have coming. They're still going to go out regardless of what happens. And the likelihood now of this bill passing is incredibly small, and everybody kind of knows that. So it's pretty much dead. And speaking of other tragedies, today is the anniversary for COVID-19 that it was discovered in Wuhan, China. I have some dates for you guys that I want to just go over. So let me find those for those on the live stream. Sorry, I do edit out some of those for the podcast. Okay, so let's see where this started. December 30th, 1 year ago, Wuhan eye doctor alerts a chat group of a new virus that was found in his hospital. This doctor was later told to pretty much shut up. I don't know a nicer way of saying it, by the Chinese government. And he did actually go ahead and pass away due to the coronavirus a couple weeks later. It wasn't until January 3rd that China began sharing information with the WHO, the World Health Organization. And then on January 11th, China reported their first coronavirus death. And on January 20th, that's when China really acknowledged that this virus is spreading and spreading fast. So it is really important that, we remember these dates and look back at what has happened in the past year since, the coronavirus has hit. It is something that was unpredictable for almost everyone, I guess, except for Bill Gates, who kind of did predict this in a TED Talk. I'll link that below for you guys. And anyways, that is to say that, oh no, my other computer's reacting. I'm going to turn that off. Okay. Where were we, guys? So no one could have predicted the coronavirus pandemic that we have seen throughout the world, and our only hope is vaccines. So luckily, the UK is distributing vaccines quite quickly, and we are hoping to get a lot of vaccines distributed in the US, even though they are a little bit behind. Looking now at the market, it does not reflect what is happening on the streets at all, because we're seeing this huge end of the year rally. So why? Okay, the reason why is because investors are very bullish on 2021. There's a couple of reasons. First, they are looking at the value of a lot of these companies, and in total, the value is still pretty low compared to the growth that we're seeing with these companies overall. So there is this impression that basically the prices now are low compared to where they'll be in 2021. So there are a lot of investors that are expecting a boom in 2021, specifically Q2. This is just a guess, you guys. This news is why I really only trade according to the charts and the movements in the markets, because all of these people, they're just guessing, right? What we've seen in the S&P 500, we've definitely seen growth and we've definitely seen gains. But when you look at the year, we're only up 15%. And that's about the same growth that we see every single year, that we've seen every single year since 2009. So you need to make sure that when people present these numbers, you're realizing that there's a lot of ways to spin the coin and a lot of numbers to show to prove your points. Because, when you look at those numbers with the S&P, you're thinking we've just kind of seen regular growth, and this end of the year rally is just kind of catching up on, what we've missed out due to the March drop. But a lot of people are now looking at end of year rallies in previous years and saying that this end of the year rally is basically anticipating a huge boost in the economy in January. And then for 2021, they're calling it, a revival of the roaring 20s. Although I guess that would have worked better with 2020, but obviously that year sucked. So we'll see. And overall, it's just interesting that all of these investors are very bullish on 2021. And that alone makes me a little bit concerned. So, looking at my opinion of the market, I definitely think that, the market is going to continue to grow. But that being said, just because they are making these claims does not mean that every ticker that is down right now is going to go up. So you still need to be really smart about what you invest in, and again, just be very, very careful. Some of the winners that were called out that their expected growth in 2021 is Apple. That's pretty obvious. Amazon, another one pretty obvious. Tesla and Exxon, as well as Bitcoin. So that's kind of, an overview of these predictions for 2021. But again, please stay smart out there. Make a plan and trade your own plan. Looking at some of the information for 2020, it has been an insane year for traders. We have seen more than 10 million people added on to individual brokerage platforms in 2020. So like Robinhood and Webull, that is so much money, new money in the market. And a lot of these new investors are participating in IPOs. And in 2020, 67 IPOs are now trading for double what they initially offered at their initial price. So that number is crazy. And it also worries me because when you look at the IPOs that have been released in 2020 and which ones are profitable, this is looking by sector. Out of those IPOs released in 2020 in the tech industry, only 19% of those companies are actually profitable. Biotech, out of the biotech IPOs in 2020, only 5% of those companies are profitable. That is very scary, you guys. If you look at, the IPOs in the other category, so not tech and not biotech, then 47% of those are profitable, which seems a little bit more fair. So if you have a IPO in tech or especially biotech, I would just be cautious. And that is, my warning. I'm sorry, because no one else is telling you this. Everyone is like amping up these IPOs and going crazy. But at the end of the day, if they're not worth anything, if the company is not producing profits. So keep that in mind and be safe about this, guys. Be safe. So those are pretty much my warnings that I had planned. I'm sorry that everyone is talking about good news and I'm like, careful about your IPOs, but that's how it goes. I'm going to be real with you guys on the podcast. I do want to go over the 2020 leaders for the S&P 500, and these numbers are insane. We had a 709% increase in Tesla. We had a 305% increase in Etsy. 120% increase for Nvidia, that's like a chip manufacturing company. 113% increase in PayPal, and 109% in L Brands. If I look at those tickers alone, I do think that they are pretty good long-term stocks, pretty good companies in general to invest in. So if you are looking at investing in those companies long-term, I don't think that you've missed the mark by any means, but it is just crazy to see how much those tickers have grown in 2020. So that's all for the news today. I want to now dive into my personal accounts. So let's see. Okay, so first, I sold JD today. I was holding JD at an average of 85.20. I sold it for an average of 88.93 because I had a bunch of orders in at different levels. So, that stock went up 3.5% today, and I wanted to take advantage. I made a 3.73 gain on this swing trade. Really happy about that profit, and really excited to take my cash and invest elsewhere. That being said, I say that phrase a lot, huh? However, I do think that JD is a great pick for a long-term investment. So I wouldn't, panic sell at all. People have price targeted this at like $500 at the lowest. So who knows what 2021 will bring with JD, but I would still say that it's a great choice for a long-term investment. Looking into swing trades that I added to, we have that Phantom Pharmaceuticals. I know it's so low volume, but you guys, it is playing exactly how I thought. It did not dip down to the 32.23 level, so I canceled those orders and instead I just bought a little bit more at the low of yesterday. So my average has now gone down to 34.75, and I've also lowered my price target. So I'm going to start selling this at 36.70. And I'm happy to give it some time. As I mentioned before, it is a low volume stock, so that's not great. However, I do feel really confident about this ticker, but I wanted to let you guys know I sized in a little bit more and I'm probably done buying, and I am expecting this ticker to bounce, even though it might happen very, very slowly. That's okay. Speaking of swing trades, I also entered into a new swing trade today with FUBO. That's FUBO. Okay, do I think that this is going to be the next Netflix? No, it's not going to be the next Netflix, and I'm not saying that. However, the movements that it's had over the past few days coming into these price levels definitely got my attention. So I went ahead and started a swing with them this morning. I went ahead and bought down at the 32.80 level. That was my last size in buy because that's where the monthly pivot is. It did have a very nice run down to that monthly pivot today towards the end of the market. I don't know where it's at now. I can take a look and see. But basically, my target for this is first at the weekly pivot at 35.50 and then at the monthly pivot at 38. So I totally forgot to tell you. So for JD, I only sold about half of the stock that I'm holding. I am still holding a good percentage for that 90 price target. So I wanted to mention, sorry, I forgot out of order. Let's look at where FUBO is now. Yeah, awesome. So FUBO's already bounced from the 32.80 level that I had bought for that monthly pivot point. It's now at 33.31. Obviously not a huge bounce, but I'm happy with it. It bounced where I expected, and I am going to be looking out for it to hit the weekly target. So that's all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will be having a episode yesterday. My goodness. Oh, the live stream. You guys just get the worst, huh? Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be recording an episode tomorrow, but today is my last live stream of 2020. I do have some exciting plans for this podcast for 2021, so you guys can stay tuned to that. And until then, I'll trade with you tomorrow. It is a regular trading day for New Year's Eve, so the market is open all day, and I really look forward to wrapping up the year with you all on the podcast tomorrow. So thanks for listening. And until then, make sure that you are planning out your trades and trading your plan. Great. So that's the end of the podcast. As I mentioned, it's the last live stream of 2020. So happy New Year, YouTube. I have so many things that I'm thinking about for 2021. First of all, I do not think that these live streams are working. It's horrible. I'm making all sorts of mistakes for only YouTube to hear. And later on, when I edit out the podcast, it's like, why would you listen to the podcast when you have this crappy YouTube video with the bad recording? So I'm going to figure something out, you guys. I promise. And I probably will be live streaming less and then doing more special content on YouTube. So stay tuned. Exciting changes happening to this channel in 2021. Please subscribe, like, and I hope you have a great and safe new year. Take care.